This is what my sister calls the shrine. I keep everything. These are the goggles that I wore, and these are the goggles I wore for my first world record. This one is probably the most important one here. I never got to sit down and be like, hey, I remember when I did that, or anything like that. It's weird that it's over, but I'm excited for what's next.
Maggie.
Hi.
Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
I was thinking about all of this and all the conversations you and I have had on a pool deck around the world. Now we're on the pool deck of your backyard pool in London, Ontario, about to talk about your retirement. When did you first think about retiring?
I think it's been in my mind since at least January of this year, just because I knew that I wanted to go to Paris, but I never wanted to swim past the age of 30, and I definitely have other things in academia that I want to accomplish, and I'm so grateful that I've been diligent with my education and I have that opportunity now, but I'm excited for what's next.
How do you tell people closest to you? What is that like? Was your heart racing a little bit? Because I think when you say it, it becomes a little more real.
100%, and I had made up my mind that I was done for a couple of weeks before I announced it last week, but I did tell a couple of my close friends and coaches and some people that I really wanted to share that news with beforehand, and because they've meant so much to me in my career. But when I was sitting on my couch waiting, I've had the message and the post in drafts for a couple of weeks, and as I got seated there and I was ready to hit post, my heart rate was probably the same as it was before I walked out at the Olympics final. But it definitely does make it feel real having everyone else know, but that's why I know it was the right move, because I'm so at peace with my decision, and I think it was just the right time for me. I mean, I've only been on the national team for 4 or 5 years, and it's been a great short run, and I think that's the beauty of it, is that I came to do what I wanted to do, and more than I ever thought I would, and then I was ready to say I'm ready to move on and begin this next chapter, whenever that might be.
You did a lot. You won a lot, as we saw from the shrine, all those medals. How do you even begin to wrap your head around what you were able to accomplish in 4 or 5 years? Some people don't even get close to that in an entire massive career. You had a big career, but it was really 4 or 5 exceptional years, Maggie.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with sport culture right now, is that you're so focused on what's next. And I distinctly remember we just finished our swimming in Tokyo, and we were already on the countdown to Paris, and we didn't get to sit and revel in everything that we had accomplished. One of the greatest Olympics for Swimming Canada in history at that point. So I think that's something I've done a lot more reflecting since I've been home, and that's been really nice. But when I went to show you the shrine today, there are certain things about my career and about certain things that I've accomplished that I hadn't realized before, and it'll definitely take some time to set in, but I'm excited to be able to sit back and be like, wow, that's something I did, and I still can't believe it happened.
I hear that, and I can't help but feel a little bit of sadness, in the sense that is a massive thing to win an Olympic gold medal. And in your moment of celebration and everything leading to that moment, it sounds to me, what I'm hearing from you, Maggie, is you didn't even get a chance to really absorb what that meant.
Definitely not. I mean, Tokyo, and then I had to get right back in at the college level, and I mean, we had a bunch of extra meets added into the calendar, a couple long course worlds, some short course worlds, in addition to an already packed, short and quad for 3 years. So definitely didn't have a chance to set in. It was really nice when I came back home. I think it was the next summer, or a little bit later at least. I had some friends and some old teachers, and just got to celebrate in my backyard here with my family, where it all started.
The squint. How many people talk to you to this day about the squint in that moment? Because we'll never forget it, Maggie.
I think most people recognize me from that meme that was circulating, and in the lead up to Paris even, I think it was 1 week in January, 3 or 4 different people from I know them from different places. Some of my teammates at school, one of my old teachers, my aunt, a bunch of random people that wouldn't have known each other. They all sent it to me that week, and I was like, this was 3 years ago. Can we move on from this? But it's great that that's kind of what I'm known for, and it makes me authentic, and it makes me connectable for other people that are watching me.
Brent Hayden came back what, 8 years later. He told me, Maggie, when he was at the London 2012 Olympics, he knew that that was going to be it. Do you have a sense that you might miss this so much that you might return to the pool one day?
I'm going to miss swimming because it's been a part of me for as long as I can remember, but I don't foresee myself competing for the next little while. Maybe if I decide to pick up masters at some point, I might do that, but I'd always given myself a 5-year clock where I can try other sports and enjoy doing other things. I had to put so many different athletic activities on hold just because I didn't want to injure myself or risk my dream of going to the Olympics. I think the last time I took a ski lesson, I was 10, and I haven't ridden a bike until the Olympic Village since I was like 12. So there's definitely a lot of things that I want to enjoy doing and enjoy doing for fun, and we'll see if swimming comes around again later.
I certainly got the sense watching your social media that there was a lot of reflection happening for you going to Paris, and you've shared with me that you didn't know you were going to retire when you were competing in Paris. But the thing I've loved most, Maggie, is all the young pictures of you, the joyful pictures of you with Speedo goggles on. Why was it important for you to show the world those early days, young Maggie in the pool?
Because when I was that age, I didn't really know how far it would come, and this was always kind of a dream since after those pictures. Those ones are from when I was 3 to 5, but it wasn't really until when I was 8 that I was like, I want to do this and maybe go to the Olympics. But it's just to show where the love started, and it's all for that little girl, and that was kind of really the whole goal, was just to enjoy it and have fun.
What would that little girl in this pool think of all of this?
I think she'd be really proud. I don't think she would have guessed anything, and just the amount of experiences and people that I've met along the way have shaped my perspective and who I am, and I'm so grateful for all of it.
And yet over the 5 years, throughout all of that, a lot of it was in the pandemic. A lot of it was spent training in this 13-meter backyard pool. What did you learn about the grind of the sport, the day in and day out training, and that maybe it doesn't take all of that to be great? Or is there something to be learned there, Maggie?
I thought so, and that was something I really was reflecting on and considering after my success in Tokyo. And I think a lot of the philosophies nowadays are just go, 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 try to push you to your limit every single day, every practice. But in reality, leading up to Tokyo, in the 4 months leading up to Tokyo, I think I was out of the water quarantining for 2 2-week periods. And the year before, I wasn't doing more than 15, 30 minutes in this pool just because I didn't have the motivation to do it. So I think there are things to be learned and questions to be asked, and maybe we should reevaluate how training is. Obviously, the way it is works great for some people, and if that works for you, I don't see any reason to change it. But I think overall, it's not a bad question worth asking.
You were great over a 5-year stretch. You did all this winning, and you got your masters. So many high-performance athletes that I've talked to have a real crisis when they leave the sport because they haven't been doing things to know what life might look like. So you're leaving the sport, but I hear that you have so much on the other side of this. How much of that was intentional?
So intentional, and ever since I was a kid, I mean, my mom's a physician and my dad's a PhD, and ever since I started swimming, it was always the extracurricular, and I knew that swimming was always second to school, and if I wasn't doing well in school or if I had to miss something for swimming, then it had to be done because there's life after sport. And I'm grateful that I was taught that lesson and that I've always been driven enough educationally that I wanted to continue that while I've been competing. And I think that adds to the layers of what I've been able to accomplish, but also has set me really well for the future.
I believe you when you say that, and yet I've talked to some athletes where I can sense that they don't actually believe that there's life outside of their sport. So you did all of this winning, but in every conversation you and I ever had, I never got the sense that it was such an ego thing, that swimming and your medals were going to define your existence.
Definitely not. And I mean, they're a nice bonus, but like I said, I think it was always just about just having fun and enjoying the sport that I got into so long ago. And winning is great, but it's really not the be-all end-all. And I think I definitely learned that in Paris after some lackluster results. And I knew I was capable of more, which is always the disappointing part, but knowing that I think it's how you lose and the way that you lose that more defines you than how you win and your successes.
You're never one to be too emotional. Very practical. I was preparing for this, Maggie, and I thought I got to keep it on the rails for the two of us today. But just very high level, as this all winds down, what are you going to remember most about all of this?
There are so many memories and attached to different meets and different people, and I definitely hope to stay in contact with most of my teammates and go visit them around the world or around Canada, wherever they may be, and just remember some of the really good moments and some of the bad ones too, even, because they all come with a story, and I'm grateful to have lived all of them.
And a word on Swimming Canada, where this powerhouse team is today.
I'm excited to see what Swimming Canada's got going in the future. I mean, I think that the best swimming is ahead of them, and there's a lot more young up-and-comers to keep your eyes on, definitely.
And what's next for Maggie Mac Neil?
Well, currently, my coach from school, whenever I talk to him, he's like, have you picked up a new hobby yet? Well, currently my hobby is spending 8 hours in that room over there studying for my LSATs, which are in November, and hopefully applying to law school for next fall. And I'm excited to get that portion of my life going again.
And you told me sport law.
That's the plan right now, yeah.
I mean, it feels like that you want to have an impact on the other side of this. This is a lofty question, but what would you want your legacy to be known as in swimming, Maggie?
That's a great question, Devin, and it's something I've been asked, I think, a couple of times along the way. And yes, I want to be known for how great a swimmer I was and the medals and stuff, but that's not the most important thing. I want to be known for the great teammate that I was, for a laugh that could get everyone laughing in the room in a couple of seconds, and that kind of thing. Just for the person and the teammate that I was, swimming second, for sure.
I think that's all I've got. I kind of don't want this interview to end because we have had so many conversations around the world, but as being the fortunate and lucky one to sit across from you, Maggie, thank you. Thank you for all you've done in the pool. I'm going to miss being the keeper of your glasses while you're competing. It has been an honor.
Thank you.